thank you all for coming. My name is Tom Brunner. I'm from Nisland. I have a family farm there. Have 7 kids, 2 in college. A couple of them that are here with me tonight. My wife. We have an irrigated farm, also a small dairy and feedlot operation. I served you in Pierre 2 terms. 4 years ago, I decided to run because I thought I needed to be involved. I've always been involved with community projects, things like that, and I gained a lot of experience that way. But I thought, you know, we need to take some of these ideas to Pierre, and we need to be fighting for the family and property rights, things like that that I hold dear. And I also like getting involved with county issues and whatnot. Some of these issues that may not mean a lot to the rest of the state, but locally they do mean a lot. I've worked on like the county district zoning laws, things like that that I think Meade County can certainly benefit from. I currently serve as the chairman of the House Ag Committee, and in my last 2 years in that capacity. So I've built those relationships with the people. You know, the Ag Committee serves Department of Environment and Natural Resources, game fish and parks, and certainly everybody in this area has an opinion on game fish and parks, good or bad or whatever. And I've worked hard to build those relationships, so when we have problems with hunting bills, things like that, hunting laws, the environment, that we know who to talk to, and we can get some things done. I also serve as majority whip, elected by my peers, the Republican Party as a majority whip, and for this past term. But I guess the biggest reason I look at what makes me a good legislator is having built those relationships, like Larry said, with the people in Pierre. So that it's amazing when somebody talks to me now and says, you know, these roads are kind of bad or something's going on, and I don't have to look for an engineer. I go to Darren Bergquist, who's the Secretary of Transportation, or Bill Even, the Secretary of Ag, and we start at the top and work down, and it's a lot easier to get something done when you've built those relationships. So, and I continue to hope to continue to certainly use those relationships. Like I said, I'm very much pro-family, pro-property rights, and certainly intend to use the experience I've gained to continue working for this district. Yeah, it is. The infrastructure, of course, is important, and I think when we look at highway dollars shrinking and whatnot, I think it's important that we fight to get our share. You know, out here where a lot of people have a tendency to drive through, and it's important. But the other thing that this district zoning is very important, and in fact, I carried that bill and got it passed 2 years ago. Is one of the things I worked on. And I had a lot of help from the guys and the commissioners and whatnot from Meade County here, and we thought it was a good fit for this county to be able to do some small zoning areas, and I still think it'll probably work out that way. The other thing that I do work a lot on is bills to help small communities and whatnot. Kind of get started last year. I worked on the fix for the liquor laws in the city of Piedmont. And I guess it depends on what side you're on, whether you call it a fix or not. I think most of the guys in Piedmont were pretty happy with it, that we could change that and get a little revenue their way to start some city projects, and didn't create too much of a burden for those that wanted to possess a liquor license. So these are the kind of things that I work on, and when the Association of County Commissioners comes and they like to come to me to get some of these bills passed. I worked on about every year on some of their bills. I think it's important to empower the local entities and get the state out of their way. If there's little laws that prevent communities and counties from doing something and providing infrastructure and doing that work, I think the state needs to just get out of the way and provide local control. So some of the things that I'm interested in. I guess I'm a big proponent of local control. I think the county commissioners have handled this issue very well. I think if you read the Journal the past week, you probably understand my view on it pretty well. Last year, the state wanted to enter into a perpetual easement on this property that goes right up to the top of Bear Butte. And I'm not opposed to that being under state control or something else, but my opposition was the fact that the state was going to put in $250,000 and have absolutely no rights as far as that property goes. They couldn't even set foot on it. And my feeling is I just don't want to see the state step into that deal and muddy the waters. If we feel it needs to be a state park, let's find the money and buy it and square up Bear Butte State Park and make the whole thing a square piece. Or somebody else can do it. Well, the tribes can do it if they feel it's important, or somebody else can do it. I have a great respect for private property rights and not splitting up. Once you give an easement that way, the next generation really has their hands tied as to how they can make a living on that property, what they can do, and I'm just basically very opposed to that. But I'm certainly not opposed to some solution with Bear Butte. I think I'd like to think you can see the thing settled once and for all, but I'm very stingy with state's dollars and getting the state involved where it is a local issue, and I think the county commissioners in Meade County have done a good job, in trying to keep it a local issue and not let it get too out of hand. I guess I've been in the middle of this issue for several years. First of all, I don't favor the South Dakota Brand Board taking this over. To me, it's an expansion of government. We have a contractor that was doing a job for 100+ years. I think it should have been left at that. There is some issue, of course, of the stock growers taking profits, using them to lobby and whatnot. But I think the Government Operations Committee looked at that and felt there was a reasonable separation, so I don't think it was a problem. There are some things that the brand board is going to be looking at. There's some issues, of course, with the part-time brand inspectors, whatnot, that they need to be treated a little more fairly. We'll be looking at some legislation this next year, whoever's there in the Ag Committee, to address those issues. But I think it's a very touchy issue in this area, because as you talk to people, they go back 4 years when the governor set 4 people off the brand board, and there's a lot of real strong sentiment opposing the governor on this issue. But we've given the brand board the power to do this, and now we have to hold their feet to the fire and make sure they do a good job of it. And that's the role I intend to take. They've got an executive director who I think is a pretty reasonable guy, does a good job, and as legislators, we need to hold their feet to the fire, make sure that their costs don't get out of hand, that they don't raise the fees on folks that have livestock that need inspected, and make sure that they continue to do a good job and give them the tools to do it.